Empyreal is a new action RPG with fast-paced combat, a ton of unique and interesting mechanics, and lots of gear to collect and make builds with. I was able to play early and now have a ton of tips that I want to share with you. Thanks to Secret Mode and Silent Games for sponsoring the video. You can check out Empyreal via the special link in the video description. And let's start by explaining what you'll be doing in Empyreal, as pretty much the entire game revolves around this mysterious alien monolith. You're sent as a mercenary from a faraway planet to investigate it, because even though the civilization that built it is long gone, they were kind enough to leave a legion of automatons to guard the place. So you'll have to fight your way through the monolith to uncover its secrets, although you won't be doing so in the traditional sense. Instead of exploring this space in an open-ended fashion, you gain entry to a specific part of the monolith with an item called a cartogram. Think of these as the blueprint for a level, which you then use at your base to enter the monolith, explore the area, defeat the boss, and then return to check on the gear you earned and restock for the next expedition. Cartograms decide a ton of things about how a level plays out, like the amount of respawns you're allowed, the type of loot you'll be able to find, and the boss you will face at the end of a level. It does not randomize the layout of a level, however, so any loot chests and secrets you find on your first run will be there if you return to that area with a different cartogram. So smart to take note of these, especially the larger chests, as it will make farming for loot much easier in the long run. And real quick, the first part of a cartogram's name is the general area where a level takes place, and the second part is the specific level you'll be playing. So in this example, I have one for Mind and Truth, which is this desert area, and it is set in the Grand Cathedral of that area. Any other cartograms that also take place in the Grand Cathedral might have different modifiers, but the layout will be exactly the same. Before you step into any level though, you want to have a good look at your gear, as both your weapons and abilities can have a major impact on how you play. While there are only 3 weapon types available at launch, they play completely different from one another, so you'll quickly discover which one is best suited for your style of play. Oh, and don't worry, by the way, while you pick a weapon at the start, you'll be able to loot and equip the other 2 types without limitation. That just determines your starting weapon. The glaive is a fast and aggressive weapon that has access to both a dodge roll and the ability to deflect incoming attacks or projectiles. But the main thing that sets this weapon apart is its mobility, as you can perform a jump attack where you throw your spear, then blink to it to quickly close the gap to an enemy. There's also the cannon, a fully ranged weapon that can switch between rapid fire, shotgun, and sniper ammo. Doing so does take some skill, as there is a timed element to this that is both required to select the correct ammo type, but can also be timed perfectly to gain a magazine of upgraded ammo that deals even more damage. And my personal favorite is the shield and mace, as this weapon grants you an overshield on each successful parry, making you much more survivable. Holding down the attack button also allows you to power up a charge attack, launching you at an enemy at high speed, which means you're even able to knock them into walls. And by the way, if you enjoyed the video so far, it would be awesome if you could leave a like and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss the next one. But your weapon of choice is only the start, because as I said, your abilities also have a major impact on how you play the game. You'll be able to slot up to 4 of these at once and 1 ultimate, with the ultimate being the only one that works on a charge. Your 4 core abilities are only limited by a cooldown, meaning you'll want to use these as often as possible. And there is a wide variety of these to pick from, ranging from defensive options like raising a shield barrier to absorb incoming hits, firing elemental mines that can stick to enemies, or distractions like a decoy that work especially well with the ranged cannon. Good to note is that some abilities are limited to a specific weapon type, where others can be used with any setup, and you can see which is which by this icon next to the skill. Most abilities can be crafted through the blacksmith, but some can be bought from other merchants or earned through completing quests for the various NPCs in your base. You also want to make sure you have plenty of silver to buy new abilities, so make sure to sell items frequently too. You barely earn any money, if at all, by simply going through a cartogram level, but you'll find tons of treasures you can sell, and you can mark gear for sale as well, since you likely don't need everything you find. And let's talk about gear actually, as you should not underestimate how important it is either. Your character does not level up, so your overall level is determined by the gear you are wearing, meaning that if you want to tackle higher level cartograms, you'll need higher level gear. Luckily, you can target what gear you want to get, so one of your main priorities should be to look for cartograms that can upgrade some of the weaker items you're currently using. Even legendary items that can appear will show on the list, although keep in mind that is not a guarantee they will show up, in which case you want to be extra careful you don't don't die and lose that level, as you cannot retry them if you run out of respawns and are booted out. Speaking of respawns, which are shown under your health bar, you can find more of these by exploring a level, although the amount is limited, as you can also see from the cartogram menu. In general, you'll want to explore the entirety of a level and find all of the loot containers, because everything you find is useful to you in some way. Loot of course helps you upgrade your character level, and the various treasures and materials you find can be sold or used to craft some of the more powerful abilities. And then there are consumable items, which come in various types and levels. You have healing and shield potions, can temporarily imbue your weapon with elemental damage, you have consumables that boost your stats, and even a wide variety of grenades. My main tip for these is simple: make sure that you use them. You have a limited amount of space for consumables in your inventory, so you'll eventually get to a point where you can't pick up new ones if you don't use the ones you have. Especially the shield restore items are something you want to look out for, as these restore health, and you can stock up on the basic level 1 version at Quartermaster Rowlin in your base. The other consumables you gather by exploring and looting, although you can also expand Rowlin's inventory so you're able to buy even more items from him too. As a more general tip, I also recommend that you play aggressive, because in my early hours I was treating the game more like a Souls-like, and I definitely ran into some troubles because of that. There is no lock-on, so you have to direct all of your attacks manually, and while you can block, dodge and parry incoming attacks, you are often outnumbered, so if you wait for an opponent's move to counter, you will likely get overwhelmed. So make sure that you keep the initiative by staying aggressive and using your abilities and consumables as often as possible. You specifically want to single out support enemies first, as they can heal, shield, or sometimes even revive other automatons. Some enemies and bosses also possess the ability to summon minions, and you want to clear those out as soon as possible too. Not only because it allows you to focus on the boss, but also because killing a summoned creature deals backlash damage to whatever summoned it. So you're killing two birds with one stone by focusing on the ads. You'll also want to keep an eye on an enemy stun meter, which is right below their health bar. Every hit builds up stun, as does parrying an attack, and once it's full, the enemy will be momentarily stunned in place, allowing you to perform an extra damaging attack known as a coup de grace. So far that's pretty familiar stuff, but you want to keep an eye out for abilities that also build stun. The Pommel Strike from the glaive, for example, is a quick attack on a low cooldown that builds decent stun, so weaving that in with your regular hits allows you to perform those coup de grace attacks even more often. The shield and mace gets an AoE stun called Hammer and Anvil, so keep an eye out for any skills that build up the status if that is what you want to focus on. With those tips, you should be able to have a great start with Empyreal, but there is one more tip I want to share. Next to all the loot I already mentioned, you'll also pick up a ton of spheres, which allow you to customize the modifiers on your items in various ways. I don't recommend using a lot early on, but once you start to get to the end game and finalize your build, these are great to push that already great weapon or armor piece to the next level. Empyreal is coming out May 8th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, so if you're interested, you can check out the game via the link in the description. Remember to subscribe to not miss our next video, leave a like on this one if you enjoyed it, and you can watch another video of ours by clicking on the screen. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.